Chapter 12.3, Part 2. In this portion of the Chapter 12.3 video, we will look at surface areas of a right cone. In a right cone, the altitude goes from the vertex to the base, and it'll be perpendicular with the base. The distance between where it hits the circle at the center and a point on the side of the circle, the edge of the base, will be the radius. The slant height will go from the vertex to a point on the edge of the circle or the edge of the base. The formula for the lateral area of a circle will be pi RL, where L is the slant height. As in the previous portion of this video, the surface area will be the lateral area plus one base, because we have one base with a cone. In this problem, we're told that a sugar cone has an altitude of 8 inches. So going from the vertex of the cone down to the base will be 8 inches, and a diameter of 2.5 inches. So if the diameter is 2.5, the radius would equal 1.25. So we have a right triangle with two edges, the altitude, or two legs, the altitude, which is 8. The other leg is the radius, which is 1.25. And we are looking for the slant height. So the slant height would equal plus or minus the square root of 8 squared plus 1.25 squared. Putting that into our calculator and rounding out to the thousandths, we would have 8.097. To calculate the lateral area, the formula would be pi RL, which would be pi times the radius times the slant height. We would have a lateral area that's approximately 31.8 inches squared. A birthday hat has an altitude of 6 inches. So the altitude would be 6 inches. A diameter that equals 4 inches, which would give us that the radius would equal 2 inches. We need the slant height. So the slant height would equal plus or minus the square root of 6 squared plus 2 squared, which would give us plus or minus the square root of 40. The lateral area equals pi RL, which would be pi times the radius, which is 2, times the slant height, which is rad 40. And we would have approximately 3.97 inches squared. Now we want to find the surface area of the cone. In this diagram, the radius is 1.4 centimeters and the slant height is 3.2 centimeters. Doing these type of problems, sometimes it's easier just to fill in the formulas and do it straight across. So we know the surface area equals the lateral area plus the base. So the surface area would equal pi RL, which is our formula for the lateral area, plus the formula for the base. And the base is a circle, so pi r squared. So the surface area would equal pi times 1.4 times 3.2 plus pi times the radius squared. Multiplying 1.4 times 3.2, we have 4.48 pi, plus 1.4 squared is 1.96 pi, These two terms both have pi in it, so the surface area would equal 6.44 pi centimeters squared. That's the exact answer. The answer rounded to the nearest tenth would be 20.2 centimeters squared. Find the surface area of the cone, round to the nearest tenth. The radius is 3. The slant height is 4.5. Surface area equals the lateral area, which is pi RL, plus the area of the base, which is pi r squared. Substituting our values in for that, we'll have pi times 3 times 4.5 plus pi times 3 squared. We then have 13.5 pi plus 9 pi. So our exact answer would be 22.5 pi centimeters squared, which is approximately 70.7 centimeters squared. And that concludes the lesson for 12-3.